Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Brass Bands England webinar. It's one of the last of our webinar series this summer before we take a little break. So we're really excited to have one of our partners on this evening talking about the links and the benefits that you can have of having membership through BBE and what that means for you in terms of making use of all of the great services that Making Music have to offer as well. So before I bring in our presenters this evening, I'm just going to do a very short introduction to everyone so that you know how to make the best use of this webinar and how to interact and ask questions. So if you're watching live in the Zoom room, hello, welcome. You can interact with the panelists by using the Q&A box. So if you've got direct questions, please put them in there. We'll be answering questions throughout the session, but we'll also leave a little bit of time at the end to go through any that come through. Or if you want to send a general message, something that isn't a direct question, or you want to let me know that you're having any tech issues or anything like that, you can pop that into the chat and send that directly to me or to all panelists and attendees as well. If you're watching live on Facebook, hello, lovely to see you. You can ask your questions too as well, although you can't interact directly with the panelists, but all you need to do is leave your question in a comment on the video and we'll pass that through to be answered by Ben and Barbara. If you're watching on catch up, either on our Facebook page or on one of our member resources, then there'll be email addresses shared later on about who you can contact if you've got any questions if you're not watching live. So just a little bit about BBE. We are a membership organisation for brass bands and we're made up of over 450, I can't actually remember the exact number anymore, organisations, events, associations and traders. So that's bands, banding organisations and festivals and all sorts of things like that. We're predominantly funded by Arts Council England as the sector support organisation for brass bands, and our activities are really broad, including advocacy for bands, negotiating deals for members, creating partnerships like the one with Making Music, running workshops, training and events as well. We're predominantly based in Barnsley, but increasingly we're spread further afield, so we do have staff across the country as well. So I think that's enough from me really. Barbara and Ben, our presenters for this evening, are you there? Hi.
Hello.
Great to see you. How are you doing, Barbara?
Very well. So, do you want me to make a start?
Yeah, absolutely. Over to you.
Great. Hello, everybody. I'm Barbara Eifler. I'm the Chief Executive of Making Music. So I'll just say a few words about Making Music as well. So we're the UK Association for Leisure Time Music more widely, i.e. for all sorts of repertoire and types of bands and choirs. We have over 3,600 member groups, and that means around 200,000 individuals through those groups. We're also UK-wide, so we do cover Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, as well as England. So we're very excited to be working in partnership with Brass Bands England. It was like discovering so many things that we had to talk about and that we had in common, and that we felt we could work together to bring even more benefit to the members of Brass Band England and also to the members of Making Music through this connection. So as I said, we're kind of genre neutral and we cover a lot of choirs as well. So a lot of the services that we provide are relevant to all kinds of groups, whereas obviously Brass Bands England, that leaves them free to sort of focus on the things that are specific to brass bands and the genre of brass music. So what we are going to be talking about tonight, Ben and I, is a little bit to talk you through what Making Music does. So you will hopefully know that your membership of Brass Bands England means that your membership of Making Music is included. All you need to do is activate it if you haven't already. And also to let you know that as many people as you want from your group can register on our website, because there may be different people in your group who want to access different resources. So the treasurer might be interested in one type of stuff, but someone who's looking at how to promote the group will be looking for different kinds of material. So anyone in your group can register on our website and take advantage of those resources. So what I think you're getting here is a sort of two for the price of one. You're joining Brass Bands England, but where our resources are complementary, you actually have access to two sets of resources, which I hope you will find really useful. So we do a little bit, as Sarah has described about Brass Bands England. We do what most membership organisations do, three things. We support our members with practical services and artistic development opportunities. We connect them to each other or the sector or whatever may be appropriate, partners, etc. And then thirdly, we act as the voice of the sector. And so this evening, we'll talk you through a little bit of detail under those three headings. So the first thing really is now to hand over to Ben, who will talk you through in more detail on the practical services, which is probably the thing that you're most interested in on a day-to-day basis. Ben, is that fair?
Yeah, I would think so. Thanks, Barbara. So yeah, my name's Ben. I'm the Membership and Operations Director for Making Music. So as Barbara said, I'm going to talk through a bit of the support side of what we do, the resources, services and benefits we offer as part of your membership. Most of this is going to be through our website. So I will be sharing my screen so I can show you where to find various bits and pieces on the website. We do offer an awful lot, so I'm not going to go through all of it because frankly I don't have time, but I'm going to try and pick out the most relevant stuff, and what I'll try and do is show you, tell you the sort of the key information you need to know about the particular benefits and services and show you where to find them on the website, but so you can go and find out more information if it sounds of interest. And of course, if you have any questions, you can ask them as we're going along or at the end, and if you have some questions in a few days' time when you've sort of come back and looked at these things, then you can always contact our membership services team and they can provide you with any extra information or answer any questions you have. So I'm going to share my screen now so I can talk you through a website a little bit. So hopefully you should all be seeing the Making Music website. The first thing I'm going to show you is the activation page. So Barbara mentioned that everyone who is a member of Making Music, so is a member of Brass Bands England, automatically is a member of Making Music as well. So you don't have to apply for or pay for membership with us. It's all included, but you do have to activate it. So there is a page specifically for this. So it's our website address, makingmusic.org.uk, and then /BBE. A nice easy shortcut for you, and that will take you to this page which explains a little bit about the membership. It's got a link to find out more about the services, some information about the insurance we offer, which I'll come back to shortly, and it's got a link here to activate your membership. It's a really short form you have to complete, give us some information if you want insurance or not, and some details about your group, and then you're activated as a member. So it's really quick and easy to do. It takes 5 minutes to complete. And then you'll be a member of Making Music, and you'll have activated your membership, and you'll have access to all the resources and services. So that's just the activation quickly to show you there. So /BBE is an important, a useful URL to remember. And then one thing I'm going to show you quickly before I get into the benefits and services is to look at the My Dashboard area. So once you've activated your membership and you're logged in, you'll have a icon here, or word there that says My Dashboard. If you click on that, that will take you to the dashboard area, which is sort of a main admin area of the site. So you've got information here to do with my account, so that's to do with you personally, sort of your mailing preferences, your information. Everyone will have that. And then if you're linked to a member group, you'll have information about each group as well. I've got lots of different test accounts here, but you know, if you're just in one group, you'll have one of these. If you're in multiple, you'll have multiple. If you've got insurance, this is where you can view your insurance documents. And Barbara also mentioned in her introduction that as many individuals in your group as you like can be registered on our site, and you manage that yourself. So there's an icon here called Manage My Group, and if you click on that, then it will show you, it will allow you to invite other people to register on the website. So if you think your treasurer would benefit from being registered on our website and accessing the resources, you can come in here, go to Manage My Group, enter their email address and name, and it will start the registration process for them and send them an email to get that going. So that's an important area there to help manage your contacts. I won't spend too much time on this because I want to focus on the benefits and services, but I will show you one more thing on the dashboard, which is if you scroll down past all my test accounts, and there's a section here called My Saved Pages. I just want to flag that now because I'm going to come back to it later, but it's useful to show you now that this is a section on your dashboard to be aware of. So that's just a quick overview of the dashboard. And so now I'm going to talk about the resources that we offer. So this is a resource section of our site. There's some featured services here, which I will come back to later. But I'm going to scroll down now and show you the resource search part of our website. So this is a big part of what we do. We have lots of written and video and various different types of guidance and advice to help you. And this is where you would come to find what you want to find. As Barbara said, there's a bit of crossover here with some of the things we do with Brass Band England, but there's a lot of difference as well. And you know, you get membership with both of us for the same price. So you know, it's always good to come and look at what both organisations offer in the resource department. We've got almost 400 now. I think about 80 of those have been added in the last 15 months and are specific to COVID. So you know, we've done a lot of stuff to do with helping groups get online, creating virtual performances, getting back to rehearsing in person, and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of that is in the last 15 months or so, but much of it goes back further than that and is, you know, not to do with COVID, and it's just to do with general things of running a music group. I'm going to explain a bit about now how to search it, because there are 381 resources. So you know, you need to sort of know how to pick through them to find the relevant ones. So one way you can do it is by typing in keywords here to look for what you want to search for. I'm going to be completely honest and say this doesn't work as well as we want. It gives quite broad results. So unless you know very specifically what to type in here, it can be quite hard to narrow your search down. So you can try it, but it's not always the best way of doing it. It's something we're working on improving and getting fixed. But there is a much better way of searching, which is to use this topic menu. So we've got a list of topics which are fairly broad, and if you're looking for something particular, I think most things you would sort of work out that they fit under one or two of these topics. So you can pick a topic there and hit apply, and then it will narrow it down. So it's gone from 381 to 77 results, which is still a lot, granted, but it's a way for you to sort of fit it down and search through, click through by looking at different pages to find what you want. And you can also use that in conjunction with typing a keyword in there. And again, it's just a way of sort of thinning down results to what you might want to look for. And you also might want to look at the type of document, type of resource. So guidance is the most common, that's sort of written guidance, but we also have services, and templates is another thing we look at. So if you're looking for a template policy or template contract or governing document, then you could select template there to further filter down the results. And then discounts and subsidies is another one that you might want to filter by if you're looking for some help from one of our corporate members for a discount or subsidy. And then there's one other key tip that I want to give you really in terms of using this search menu for resources, which is we have lots of what we call cover sheets, which is sort of a collection of all the stuff we do on one area. And they're quite a good starting place to look at. So a good way to search is to put a relevant topic in here. So I'll stick with governance and finance, and then click open resource here. So if we click there, that'll thin it down to much fewer results, and it will give you some of these, what I will refer to as cover sheets. So the committee member toolkit is one example. So I'm going to click through into this. So this is free for anyone can view this page, and it lists all the different things, all the different resources we have which are relevant to committees and committee members. So it's got stuff by all committee members that might just be relevant in terms of generally running a committee. And then as we scroll down, it's got stuff that's relevant to particular roles. So the chair might be interested in strategic planning and succession planning. The treasurer might be interested in resources on increasing your income, so financial sustainability and that sort of thing. And then there's various, other roles for the librarians or fundraising officer, etc. And as these resources, the ones listed here, these are the ones that are only available to members. So as you click through here, you have to be logged in to be able to access this content. I'm logged in, so you will be able to see it, but it's just a way of collecting all the relevant resources in one place. So I would recommend you, if you're looking for something, I would recommend using that sort of tip to search for something. So I'll do another one. So I'll look at growing your group and audiences this time. Again, I'm going to do open resources, apply that, and there's a cover sheet here on marketing resources for your group. And again, this is open and all these different ones are available to members only. So there's lots of information here, and this is all about marketing your group, increasing your membership, recruitment, and promoting your group to audiences as well. So there's lots of detailed resources in there. One other, actually I'll do two other sort of cover sheets you might be interested in. So working with young people and open resources. So we have a dedicated youth engagement manager who looks at how groups can recruit younger people into their membership. And so this is a collection of all the resources we have under that heading of youth recruitment. So this is another one of those cover sheets to help you do that. And then finally, I'll just show you the COVID one. So we do have a topic for coronavirus, and again, open resources and click apply. And it will have a cover sheet here, resources for the music group during COVID. Lots of different things we do. So big ones at the minute, planning for the future. It's got risk assessments and how to get back to rehearsing in person, meeting online, meeting in person. So again, lots of information there to help groups through the coronavirus and pandemic and getting back to meeting in person. And there's one other thing I want to show you here about resources, which is to mention this little button here, add this to my dashboard. So when we were looking at the dashboard earlier, I showed you that my save pages section. So on all resource pages is this button, add this to my dashboard. If you click that, it adds it to the my save pages. So if you find a resource and you think that's really useful, I want to save it, I want to bookmark it essentially, you can click that button and then it will appear in the my save pages of the dashboard that we looked at earlier. So that's a really useful tip for when you're searching for resources, if you find something useful, so you can save it. So yeah, that's a quick overview of the resources. As I said, there's a lot in there, but yeah, those open resources are a good way to find out sort of an overview of what we do on a particular topic. So now I'm going to look at the insurance, which is again a really big part of what we do. And to look at the insurance, I'm going to go back to the BBE activation page, so /BBE, and then there's some information here find out about insurance. So we offer 4 standard insurance packages: bronze, silver, gold, and then we have an exclusive package only available to Brass Band England members, which is called Brass. So this is our exclusive Brass policy there. So all our insurance policies are designed and tailored specifically for amateur or leisure time music groups. And the brass one in particular is tailored to brass bands. I'll come back to that later, but I'll just quickly talk about the bronze, gold, silver, and gold packages. So brass bands can have any of our packages. They don't have to have brass. They can have bronze, silver, or gold if they prefer. The bronze package has public liability of 5 million per year, employers liability of 10 million, and that includes volunteers or individuals who engage on a freelance basis. And then it also includes money or cash covered up to £2,000. The silver policy has, the bronze policy is £43 a year or £69 a year, and that depends on what your group's income is. So if it's under 21,000, the price is 43, and if it's between 21 and 100, it's 69. And then the silver policy has the same as bronze, but it also includes cancellation cover, event cancellation cover up to 2,500 for one claim or across the whole year, and then property cover. So that's not building in terms of property, in terms of buildings, it's to do with musical property. So instruments, sheet music, any equipment that the group owns in relation to their music making activities. So it could be electronic equipment, it could be staging, doesn't have to be, just instruments or sheet music. And that includes cover up to a maximum of £20,000 with a single item limit of 5,000. And the silver is £91 per year or 132 for that higher price band. And then gold is essentially the same as silver, but it has higher limits. So the property is 50,000, single item limit is the same for 5, and the event cancellation cover is 10. And the price there is 175 or 240. And then I'm going to come back up here and look at the brass package. So as I said, we developed this specifically with Brass Bands England. It has increased public liability. So all the others are 5 million, brass is 10 million. And it has higher limits for property, because we know that brass bands will often own a lot more property, a lot more equipment, instruments, and that sort of thing. So we've had a higher limit, 125,000 on that, and then the single item limit is also increased from 5,000 to 10,000 on the brass package, and the price there is £620, and that's the same for either income band. You would have noticed, or you may have noticed, that all insurances also have a half-year price. So all our policies run from January to December, and if you buy them in the second half of the year, so after the 1st of July, they are half priced, and they would run up till the December of that year. And that's the same for bronze, silver, gold, and brass. So it's really comprehensive cover. As I said, it's designed specifically for music groups and leisure time music groups, and indeed specifically for brass bands as well. So I know a lot of brass bands have taken up our insurance package, and I know a lot of them have saved money on their previous packages as well. So I would encourage you to have a look. If your renewal date's coming up, then do come and have a look at this part of the website and look at our insurance. There's lots of information here about the basic cover. There are some insurance FAQs as well. And of course, if you have any specific questions that aren't answered by our FAQs, just get in touch and the team will be happy to help answer any questions. One other quick thing to say about the group insurance is that we also do custom packages. So if these limits and this cover doesn't meet your requirements, or indeed if your income is over £100,000 per year, then you'll need to get a custom quote, and we can do bespoke packages to try and meet your requirements. You'll have to get in touch with us to sort that out, but that's easily done. And you will need to do that if you own buildings. I know a lot of brass bands own rehearsal rooms, so if you want to insure a building, then you would need custom cover. So again, get in touch and we can help sort that out for you. So that's the group insurance. I'm now going to talk quickly about our individual insurance as well, because that may well be relevant to a lot of individuals in brass bands. So what I've just been talking about is insurance for groups, music groups, brass bands, but we also do insurance for individuals. So I've come to a membership and insurance section of our site, and I'm looking at the tab for individuals. I'm going to go to the find out more section here to show you a bit more. So what this is essentially household insurance for musical equipment. Again, it doesn't just have to be instruments, it could be any sort of musical, any electronic equipment used for music making. And it's basically done per household. So you don't have to sort of say what particular instruments you don't have. You don't have to call us and say you bought a new cornet or you bought a new tuba or something like that and add that to our policy. You buy the level of cover which you want, and any instrument you have owned within that household is covered under that policy. So if you think you have £10,000 worth of musical instruments in your house, then you would want the gold cover here, which is £85 per year. And then everything, all musical equipment in that house is covered up to a value of £10,000 with a single item limit of £6,000. It also includes, if you have children, for example, who are at university and they have instruments still at their house at the university, it would include cover for them as well, as long as their permanent normal address is your house and they're just away at university. So it would include that kind of cover as well. It's anywhere in the UK or Europe. It includes higher costs covered for temporary replacement of instruments as well as covered in a lot of cars. And pretty unusually, I think, for this kind of policy, there's no excess except for computer. So if you own a lot of instruments individually, or the household you live in has a lot of instruments within it, then you might want to look at our individual insurance, household cover insurance. There's 4 different packages: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum this time. No particular one for brass. And all the information's here, the level of cover with the single item limits as well. And again, custom cover is available for that. So if you have instruments that don't meet these limits, then you can get a custom quote as well. So again, if you've got existing policies, it might be that your instruments are covered on your normal household insurance, but it might be cheaper to get them taken off that and covered specifically with us. Or even if it's a similar price, it might just be easier with us because you don't have to keep updating us of what is, which instruments you have, which often you will have to do on your household policy. So if there's a renewal date coming up, do come and have a look at our musical instrument insurance for us. We might be able to save you some money, or indeed just offer you a different or better level of cover. So that's the insurance, 2 main types of insurance we offer. But I'm also going to talk now about some of the other services we offer. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to go through them fairly quickly and sort of just show you where they are on our website so you can go and find out more. So the first one I want to talk about is PRS. So this is paying royalty fees for live performances. I know a lot of brass bands have their own license for PRS, and often groups might be performing in venues that have a license for PRS. If either of those things are true, then you can't use our license for PRS. But if you don't have your own license and you're performing in an unlicensed venue, which is often a lot of community halls and that sort of thing, and some churches, then you can pay through our license. We have a tool to help you work out how you can pay PRS. So if you come down back to the resources page and you look at performing rights, PRS and copyright, select that topic, you'll find there's a tool here which will help you decide. It's got a bit of information here, and then it's got a tool down here which will help you decide if you need to pay PRS, and if you do, how you can pay PRS, and whether that should be through your own license, through a venue, or through making music. If you can pay it through making music, then our license works on audience size. So the bigger the audience size, the larger the fee for that concert. If we collect PRS fees at the end of each year for the preceding year. So in this November, we'll be collecting for concerts that took place between the 1st of November 2020 last year and the 31st of October this year. So it's probably not going to be a lot of concerts this time around, but they're the usual sort of timeframes that we collect on. And yeah, as I said, come and look at this tool. If you don't know what PRS is, we also have detailed guidance which explains what PRS is to help you get to grips with it, and then you can come and look at this tool to work out how you should be paying it. So that's PRS and a service there to help you pay that. The next one I'm going to look at is Making Music platform, which is we've been running for about 2 years now. So back on the resources page, I mentioned earlier there's the featured resources. So we've got 2 pages of featured resources. So on the second page of that is Making Music platform. So I'm going to go to our Making Music platform. I'm actually just going to show you, play a quick video as an introduction to what Making Music platform is. So it's only about a minute or so long. So we'll play that now.
Making Music platform is Making Music's all-in-one online administrative tool and website designed for leisure time music groups. With MM Platform, you can create a smart custom website for your group. You can use your site to show off your group, let visitors know about your history and plans for the future, sell tickets to events and merchandise via your online shop, and more. Your site comes fully integrated with a members area, which is full of tools and resources for your group members. Group administrators can access further tools to help you run your group, like automatic member invoicing, attendance tracking, and mailing lists. You can try Making Music Platform for yourself at our demo site, demo.makingmusicplatform.com. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch.
Okay, so yeah, that's a little introduction to Making Music Platform. I mean, it is what it says there. It's an online platform to help you manage your group. It can be a public-facing website, or it can be just admin tools to manage your group and a members area if you prefer. It's so the way I would sort of describe it, I really like Making Music Platform. I think it solves a lot of problems. The way I would describe it is I know a lot of groups use various services to manage their group. So they might have documents in Google Drive, they might use Doodle Polls, MailChimp, Eventbrite, all these different things in different places, different logins. Making Music Platform basically brings all that functionality together in one place. So in terms of managing your group, you can invoice members, you can take subs fees through the platform, take card payments, you can do rehearsal tracking, you can share documents. It has different permission levels, so not everyone can see everything. You can send newsletters, you can manage your membership, so you can just have a grouping for just new members or just the Cornets, for example, and then you can email people based on that. So if you just need to email the Cornets players, you can do that. You can send a newsletter to all your supporters. You can sell tickets through it if you have it as a public-facing website. You can have a shop to sell merchandise. It can do loads and loads of different stuff to help you run your group. And as I said, it's all together in one place. There is a fee for this service. The initial, for the first year, it's £208. So that's a setup fee of £130 and then an annual fee of £78. And then obviously that £78 is due every year. So yeah, it is, I mean, for 78 quid, I think it's very good value for all the different functionality it offers you. There are different add-ons as well, extras you can get as well, but 78 quid gives you that sort of the core basic product, which, to be honest, is what most people need. Not everyone needs the extras, but some of the extras are to do with nightly backups. You get a weekly backup as it is an unlimited storage. So yeah, if you want to find out more about Making Music Platform, go to a resource section and have a look. There's also a shortcut for that, which is /MMP, so you can go and find out more about that. And as I said at the beginning, if you've got any questions, you can get in touch and ask. And we do also have a demo site for that as well, so you can log in and actually see what it looks like and what you'll be dealing with. And you can play around with that, put data in, play around with it, change whatever you want on there as well. So if that sounds of interest, do go and have a look at /MMP or go to the resources and featured services. So very conscious of time. So I've got 3 more services to talk about quickly. So the next one is Orchestra Tax Relief. So this is the worst named thing in the world. It's not our name, it's HMRC's name, but Orchestra Tax Relief is not about orchestras and it's not about tax. But what it is a scheme that HMRC run, which basically gives leisure time music groups or leisure time instrumental music groups money for putting on concerts. It really is a payment for doing what you do anyway. So I know a lot of brass bands don't always put on their own concerts. They might perform at events organised by someone else. So if that is your group, it isn't relevant, because to qualify for OTR, you have to be putting on your own concerts. It is by a per concert basis. So if you do 5 concerts a year, which are 5 gigs a year, which are organised by someone else, and 2 which are organised by yourself, then those 2 could qualify for OTR, and you could get money back on those. As I said, it's not to do with orchestras, it's to do with any instrumental group. You do not have to be an orchestra, you have to be an instrumental group. There has to be a minimum of 12 instrumentalists performing at the concert. It has to be live in front of a live audience, a paying audience, and the primary focus has to be the instrumentalists. So you could have some singing as well, but the primary focus and main reason people there are to see the instrumentalists. So if you're organising your own concert and it meets that criteria, then it may well qualify for Orchestra Tax Relief. I won't go into detail of how it works, but basically you get, if you put on a concert you'd be putting on anyway, you can get back a payment to do, and it's to do with your pre-production costs, so it's rehearsal costs basically. And as a ballpark figure, if you take the overall budget of your concert, so that includes all rehearsal costs and final performance costs, that overall budget you'll get back, based on what our members have been getting back so far, you'll get back about 14%, 14% of that concert budget as a payment from HMRC. So have a think about what your concert budgets are and if that 14% is going to be worthwhile. And I say worthwhile because there is a bit of work involved in setting it up. You have to set up a separate production company to produce your concerts, and that production company files a corporation tax return, and through that tax return is how you get money back. Sounds complicated, it is a little bit complicated, but the first year is a difficult one. Once you're set up and running, then it gets easier and easier each year. And we have loads of guidance and templates to help with this. So we have it's one of our topics in the resource menu. Click on Orchestra Tax Relief, hit apply, and it's got loads of resources there to help you do it. So the most relevant one is it for your group? That'll help you work out if it is relevant for your group and if you want to do it and if it's going to be worthwhile in terms of the sort of returns you can get. And if you decide it is, there's loads more resources to help you set up a company, to help you how to set up a company. It's got template governing documents, template contracts, all that sort of stuff. Make it as easy as possible for you as we can. And then there is an actual service. So when you come to actually claim it, and having to file a claim to HMRC, we can do that, file that for you to help to make that as easy as possible. Again, there's a fee for this service. The fee depends on the size of your organisation, but it starts from 175 quid a year. If you're getting back 800 quid a year, then it's sort of well worth it to pay that fee to us. So if you think you might qualify, if you put on your own concerts, come and have a look and see if you think it'll be worthwhile. If you're only doing one concert per year or doing one of your own concerts every 2 years, it probably isn't worth it, to be honest, because it's a lot of effort to get it set up in the first instance. But come and have a look, because some groups get £5,000–6,000 back per year, the really big groups. I know some groups who do it and sort of get 600–700 quid back per year, and they're set up and it's working smoothly now, and it's a really easy 600–700 quid for them to get now that they're set up and running. So come and have a look at OTR if you think it might be relevant to your group. So the next service I want to talk about quickly is our charity registration service. So some of you will already be charities, some of you might want to be charities, some of you might have to be charities. If you have a charitable constitution and your income is over £5,000 per year, then you should register as a charity, or you have to register as a charity in England and Wales. And we can basically help with that process. So I've got on governance and finance here and select type service, and that will take me to our charity registration service. So if you're not sure about what charity status is and how it works, then there's lots of information here to sort of explain what that is, and there's information on this page, and it'll link to other information as well. Basically, if you do have to register as a charity, or you want to register as a charity, then we can help with that. There's a few different types of charity, different structures. I won't go into them now, but we have governing documents to help with some of them. So they're governing documents which are approved by the Charity Commission. They've seen the constitution, they've approved it, they know it's good, and that will help you make your registration process quicker and easier. But if you want to be a different type of charity, you can be. We can help with any type of charity. There is a fee for that. They start from £100 and they go up to £130 depending on your type of charity. what we do is get lots of information from you about your group, which we ask it in a really easy way, which you can easily answer those questions. We then take that information, put it together into an application for you, making sure we're using all the correct language that the Charity Commission are going to want to hear. And then we actually submit that for you on your behalf. So you don't have to get involved with the actual application process at all. We get the information from you and use that to put together the application for you, and we manage that whole process. And the fee is only payable if we're successful as well. And we haven't been unsuccessful yet, so I would feel confident that we can get you registered for as a charity if that's what you need to do. So yeah, if you're not sure about charity status or the registration process, come and have a look at this page. You'll find out a bit more, and as ever, get in touch and we can help. And then the final one I want to talk about is the find a funding opportunity. So again, back on the resources page, I'm looking at the find a funding opportunity service here. This one's pretty quick and self-explanatory. We have a diligent volunteer who is always sort of scouring funding opportunities for music groups, and then we list them here. So it's just a way for you to be able to sort of do a bit of a legwork for you to find out what might be relevant. So you'll see that here they are listed. They're sort of in order of the most recent ones. It gives you the key information, so the application deadline, which is obviously important, the amount you can get, and you can filter it here by the amount and the area, which is to do with the different nations in the UK. And then you can click through for more information. So they're useful ways to filter, but these tags here are another way of doing it. So this is who can benefit, the beneficiary type. So we tag, all the different who can benefit in different ways for each application. And if you click on one of these, it will take you through to any application which also has that tag. So if you're particularly looking for applications to get funding to help older people or people with disabilities, or whatever it might be, then you can click on that tag and it will give you all the information, all the different funding funding pots which might be relevant. And then obviously it's up to you to go and find out a bit more about it and put the funding bit together. But this is a way of us sort of doing some of that initial legwork for you. You're probably bored of hearing my voice now, so I think I've gone through the main or the key benefits. I will just point out one other thing, which is to show you how to find an easy summary of everything we do. So as I said, I've mentioned the key stuff, but if you come back to the resource page and you go to topic, your membership and insurance, and again, click on this open resource button, that will take you to the overview. So here it is, what do you get, or what do we get for our membership? This is the overview of everything we do. So it's got a lot of the stuff I talked about on there, but it's got some extra stuff as well, which I haven't had time to talk about. So come and have a look at that. This is a good overview of all the different stuff you get. So I think that's it for me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to hand back over to Barbara, who's going to talk to you very quickly about some other aspects of our.
Thank you very much, Ben. I hope you all found that useful. There's a question in the Q&A that I've spotted, Sarah, which I don't know how to answer. Well, I think I know what the answer is, but you might be better placed to answer that one.
Yeah, so I've had a couple of messages, people who have very savvily spotted that our website looks very, very similar to the Making Music website, and yet it does. It looks very, very similar, but it's not so interlinked that Making Music automatically know. So Rosie actually might be the best person to answer this one. So David has asked, the person who sets up affiliate membership on Making Music, does this have to be the same individual that set up their account on the Brass Bands England website?
I think the relationship is through the organisation that you belong to.
Yeah.
You might have to check this, Ben, but we pass on which bands are BBE. So I think if someone applies to Making Music and they put a BBE member organisation, is that how you recognise people then?
Yeah, exactly. So it can be any individual in the band. It doesn't have to be the Brass Bands England main contacts. It can be any other individual. So if someone manages a brass band membership and they don't want to also manage a Make Music one, it can be a different person. And yeah, you have, as Rosie said, you have to put the name of the band in there, and that's how we know that it's it's a Brass Band England member. So yeah,
and there is a link from the BBE website. We've got a page under what we do called Making Music Affiliate Membership. So you can go there and it will take you through to the page that Ben was showing us.
Yeah, so we just know the names of the groups that are Brass Band England members, nothing else. Great. Thank you very much, Ben and Rosie and Sarah, for that. So, I hope you found Ben's thing interesting. I always find that the practical support is the thing that people really find helpful, because obviously we all want to focus on making music rather than kind of doing this the admin stuff. So this is what we, as well as Brass Bands England, are trying to make easier for you. So there's a couple of other things that we do, as I said at the beginning. So one, under the sort of practical support, we also count some artistic development opportunities, and one that you may be interested in is Adopt a Music Creator. So this is a funded opportunity where you can apply as a group to host a music creator it's round about a year usually, and that person will come and take up residence with your group, so to speak, and find out more about the group and write a piece specifically for you, which is then premiered at the end of the project and recorded and broadcast. So this is something that you might be interested in. We also have various sort of local and national projects to take part in. I mean, Brass Bands England have already told you a lot about Make Music Day, which is actually a global thing, and that lots of us take part in. And in fact, it's next Monday. So if you're doing anything on Monday, do register it on the makemusicday.co.uk website. Or go and find an event near you. We've also been doing a virtual concert series over the last year. The 12th concert in that series was last night, and that's a fantastic opportunity to showcase the variety of groups that we have in membership, and many brass bands have been featured over the last year in those concerts, and beautiful it was too, including my own. Yes, so I'm going to own up here that I play third cornet in the Crystal Palace Progress Band. So no, you won't see me competing anytime soon because I only started 3 years ago, but I enjoy it a lot. So it's a community brass band. We also work with other partners and signpost people to opportunities. So just recently, there's the Together Coalition are sort of proposing a thank you day on Sunday, the 4th of July. So we have shared the materials and information about that with members. And we also, celebrate or give an opportunity to you to raise your profile through our awards. And actually, they were started last year, really, and we've just launched them. So if you want to nominate yourself or any other group or person, then now is the moment to do so. So I'm just going to talk you through the individual ones that you might find of interest. So there's all of these could be applicable to brass bands. The best music creator for leisure time music group is one nomination. And what we'd want to know is a recording of a piece of music that a music creator made for your group, and also telling us about what was good about working with that music creator, because it's not just about how marvelous the end result is, but whether that music creator was a good person to work with as a leisure time music group. Some of them are better at this than others, obviously. There's also best arranger for leisure time music group, and I know now from my brass band experience in the last 3 years how important arrangers are for brass bands. So we really feel that they are very much the unsung heroes of our music world. And so if you know someone who's absolutely brilliant at arranging for brass bands or for your brass band, then please do put them forward for that award. There's also a sort of more general best project with a focus on new music. So as an example, last year an orchestra from Scotland won, who went and worked with several local schools on students that had to write composing projects for their school grades, and then the orchestra performed those pieces. So that was both great for the orchestra getting new music, but also for those very young composers to have their music performed by a proper instrumental group was amazing. And we've got 2 new awards this year, and one is for best music director. And so this is possibly not just about their musical ability, but it could also be, you know, about what they've been doing in the last year to keep you all together and interested, and you know what they've been doing to support the group. And then the other nomination is for a music group hero. So not the music director or conductor, but in this case it could be the whole committee who've done a sterling job with a group, or it could be that there's one person on the committee or the chairman or whoever it is who's been the one to you know, really manage COVID, or you know, be inspirational to everybody and cheer everybody up over these last 15 months. So I thought that would be hopefully of interest to mention to you. And the deadline is the 30th of July. So you've got a bit of time to do that. So I'm going to talk a little bit now also about connecting you to other people. I mean, obviously Brass Bands England does that a lot for connecting you with other brass bands, but you may want to come and join some more general making music events that connect you to other types of groups from across the country and across the UK. So obviously since March 2020, these have been on Zoom, and we had no idea how popular these would be, and we will undoubtedly hang on to some of the Zoomery as we go forward. But so we have different types of meetups. We have probably not so relevant because this is Brass Band England I'm talking to, but there are Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales meetups. But otherwise we have general meetups around once a month, probably going to once a term from the autumn. And then we have lots of specific events on different topics. They're all very interactive. So, you know, usually you will end up kind of working with people in a small breakout room. And, you know, people have found them really useful learning as well as networking opportunities. So these are all free to members. So if you look on the events page on our website, maybe Ben, you can put the link to that, you can find out what they are. And then finally, oh my God, I realized we're running out of time. Sorry, I'll be quick. So obviously we are also the voice of the sector and, you know, more widely rather than just for brass bands. But you will be aware that in the last 15 months, there's been a lot of work from organisations like Brass Bands England and ourselves on, working with civil servants on the guidance that's come out and raising awareness of what the situation and the benefits of this kind of music making in the community are. So we've really spent a lot of time working on that in the last year. When the guidance did not allow bands and choirs to meet back in July 2020, we started a campaign about that. And at the moment, we are campaigning very hard to remove the ban on choirs to meet indoors with more than 6 people. For which the government has not released the scientific evidence that means that choirs should be treated differently to other non-professional music groups. We're also currently looking at another issue. So there's a government consultation on something called Protect Duty, which would impose the duty on any venues and possibly organisers who hire it with a capacity above 100 to introduce certain anti-terrorist measures, which would be just completely ridiculous, and we think would lead to a lot of community halls, churches, etc., just no longer hiring to groups or hosting concerts because they're all run by volunteers and would just find it too much. But obviously being a voice for the sector also means celebrating the sector, and so the awards are part of that. The effort we put in to Make Music Day, because Make Music Day is a fantastic platform to showcase what you all do all year round, possibly hidden away in your various halls. And so Make Music Day is a way to raise your profile nationally and in fact internationally, because it's a project that is happening in 125 countries, and it's fantastic to make connections across the world for that. So I think I better stop now.
Not a problem at all, Barbara. There's so much to talk about, and I think that's a very good representation of why it's such a great partnership, because Making Music has so much there to offer. We couldn't even fit it in an hour of all of the services and all the things that are going to be really worthwhile. I just wanted to very quickly bring in Rosie, who did pop in very briefly before, just to make sure that BBE members and BBE prospective members as well know who she is and who to contact. So Rosie is our members services manager. So if you're having any issues with the website, if you're thinking about joining as a member and want to understand what that means, then Rosie is the one to get in touch with.
Yes, so you can email me on rosie@e.org.uk. As Sarah said, any issues with your accounts, with paying your membership, using our services, I'm just on the end of an email or a phone, so do get in touch, and I like to chat to you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be able to find all of the information about how you can activate your affiliate membership with Making Music on the BBE site, but I'll make sure that link is in the chat on the Facebook page as well for people who haven't got the chat here. Also, just to say, I know so many people now that they're getting out and about in the world again, imagine, aren't watching so much live, but this is being recorded and it's also on our Facebook page, and that video is going to be saved too. So if you think it's going to be of use to someone else in your band, to make sure that they do use all of the benefits of their membership, then they can find that video either in our members resources or on the or on the Brass Bands England Facebook page too. Thank you so much, Ben and Barbara. It's been great to have you this evening, and great to just see all of the scope that you have to offer, and why we think it's such a great partnership. I would definitely encourage BBE members, if you're looking for resources, if you're looking for things and looking on our resources page and you don't see something, do take a look at the Making Music page, because it's not unlikely that it's there already, and it might be that we've made an active decision not to create a resource because it's already there waiting for you. So do make sure that you use both sets of resources to the best of your ability. Brill. Ben, Barbara, anything else that you want to finish off with before we close the evening?
No, I'm very excited to hear that Rosie's going off to play in band, but my band is meeting in the back garden. We're meeting tomorrow night. So, what do you play, Rosie?
Play tenor horn. There'll only be 6 of us. It's just a small group. We're gradually getting back into it.
Yeah, not far off, and we hope that it will be bigger and better very, very soon. But we'll keep an eye on what DCMS is saying, and as always, we'll keep our guidance up to date with what the current situation is. But we do know that as the weather's getting nicer and you're able to see more people, the kind of Zoom webinars aren't going to be quite as intense as they have been over the last 18 months. So this is actually the last one in our summer series. We're taking a bit of a break over summer. However, we have still got all of our training available. So our band safe training, our band governance training, and our weekly interview series, Bring Back the Brass. They're still all continuing, but we'll be restarting our webinar series alongside some live events in autumn, which we're very, very excited about. Thank you so much, Ben and Barbara. It's been great to see you, and looking forward to seeing you in person at some point in the not too distant future.
Thank you. And,
good night, everyone.
See you again.
Thank you,
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.